Welcome back. I guess sort of, kind of. Welcome back to the second year of Feedback. If you joined us last year, we're so glad to have you back on this first show of the fall season of Feedback. Tonight we're talking about some renewing things going on here at Clarion University. You may have heard of the master plan. Well, we're going to delve into that. What is the master plan? What's going on with it right now? And also, as usual, I'm going to give you a little bit of an update on my thoughts on the presidential race. It's all tonight on Feedback. As I said, welcome back to year 2 here of Feedback. I'm Mark Despotakis, the host of Feedback. We air every Tuesday and Wednesday night at 7:30. We have a lot of interesting things lined up for you already for this year. Tonight we're going to be talking about what's going on here at Clarion University with renovations, the master plan, everything going on with that. Tomorrow night we're going to be talking Clarion University sports. We're going to talk about some community things coming up next week. The week after that, we're going to be speaking with a Tony Award-nominated actress, vocalist, singer. We'll tell you more about that in the weeks to come, but we have that special program lined up for you in a few weeks. But as is per my normal, if you've ever watched the show before, you know that I spend the first couple minutes just sort of telling you what I think of what's going on. This one, I'm going to kind of do that, but maybe I'm just going to bring you updated on some things I've noticed over the summer. We've been gone for 3 months. I haven't been able to discuss these things with you. And what has been the biggest news, of course, the last 3 months, and what's getting even bigger news now, at least in my opinion, is the presidential race. And a lot of people haven't been paying attention to it. We're going to talk about it a lot on this program because you need to pay attention to it. It's very important, as are all elections. I remember discussing this with you back in April, talking about what was going on, the personality of the candidates. In the first week of May, I had an opportunity that I was very glad to accept. We received a press release here that George W. Bush would be in Pittsburgh. Well, guess what? We decided to go. I think we actually have some video of that you can see. I went down to the press conference along with one of our anchors, Cynthia Walker, and we were actually there for the press conference. We were playing with the big dogs, if you will. And it was very interesting to see. This was the press conference, as you may remember, where John McCain officially came out and endorsed George W. Bush. And I'd seen these people on TV, but this was a chance for me to actually see what they were like in person. I mean, obviously not really, because they're still kind of in that media spotlight, but I got to see what they are like, what their mannerisms are. And the one thing that you may be able to tell from the video, one thing that I really noticed was that George W. Bush was kind of distant from what was going on. I mean, he was there and paying attention. I'm sure he was fully aware of everything that was going on, but he comes across to me at least as kind of distant from what's going on, distant from the issues. And he also, this may be just something I may be nitpicking here, but I've heard other people say this, he always seems to have that smirk on his face, and that just makes me not want to trust him as much. But I go in with, looking at both candidates and seeing what I like and what I don't like. And at this point, I'm at the point of choosing the lesser of two evils, which is, talking to a lot of people, that's the exact words they've said to me. They've said, well, I don't like either of them, so I'm going to choose George W. Bush, or I'm going to choose Al Gore because it's the lesser of two evils. And this race has also, I've noted, been less and less about issues, which may be the media's fault, and more about character. So much has been going on about character. The media, of course, brings that to the forefront, but I also think that the candidates themselves have brought it to the forefront. If you look what happened a few weeks ago when George W. Bush was on stage with his running mate, Dick Cheney, and in a passing comment, or so the campaign says, didn't realize the microphones were on, made a very, very derogatory comment about a reporter from the New York Times. while that was played, of course, over and over again on the David Letterman show and the Tonight Show with Jay Leno, yeah, it was funny at the time, but what does it say about George W. Bush? His candidate's immediate reaction was, and I thought this was very funny, his immediate reaction was, well, you know, that was a private conversation between Governor Bush and his running mate. Well, I mean, don't you think that that also has to do with what he's really like? I think those glimpses are quite interesting. You know, as are the glimpses we see of Al Gore, and I'm sure over the next few weeks I'll be enumerating more on those things. But we're going to take a break. Like I said, more about the presidential election in weeks to come. We're going to take a break, talk about what's going on here at Clarion University with the master plan. Claire Heidler from Facilities Planning joins us after this.
Boyfriend wants to know if that girl will go out with him. Pass it down.
Hey, Grandma, ask the girl on the end if she wants to go out with this loner.
The young man wants to know if the girl over there is a donor.
Somebody wants to know if you're an organ and tissue donor.
Yes.
Hey, me too.
Are you a donor? Make sure your family knows your decision so there's no question later.
It may not look like it, but you're watching the future of the Earth pass by. Because many of these products are made from materials you've been recycling. But to keep recycling working, you need to buy products that say, made from recycled materials. For all those next in line, it would mean the world to them.
Said, you know, it wouldn't a better name for a movie to come out now, and I think I'm going to make the movie or write the book. It would be a great book to have, and you can call to get her book. You can also find it online. Well, I have a feeling I'm going to be rather opinionated. People I know so. Let's ask them about scheduling. Why is it that students have such a problem here with?
Tune into Feedback with Mark Despotakis every Tuesday and Wednesday night, beginning at 7:30 p.m.
We're totally out of time. No time to talk to you. We'll see you tomorrow. Welcome back. I'm Mark Despotakis. Welcome back to Feedback. If you've been on the Clarion University campus, if you're a student here, I'm sure you've realized there's always some type of construction going on, and you may be walking around now and saying, oh, we don't have anything going on. Well, just you wait. And the man here to deliver that news, Claire Heidler from Facilities Planning, thank you for joining us. One of the first things I was telling you that I ever heard when I came to Clarion was the master plan. There's so much talk about the master plan, and obviously it plays into all the construction and things that we do. Could you explain to us exactly, you know, what is the master plan? You know, not specifics, but what is the master plan for Clarion University? What does it detail?
The master plan details a number of things, Mark, but I think it's important to remember that it's really broken into three sections. You have the 3 to 5 year period of time as one section, roughly 5 to 10, and then 10 to 20 year period of time. Those three time spans, if you will, address what we would hope to achieve during those time spans. Really, since the master plan was published in late 1996, if we look at where we are now, it is a product of that immediate term portion of the master plan. Of course, the library construction triggered a lot of the other things that I think we've all seen going on. And In general, it takes us out to the 20-year point, but of course, as you get into the 10 and 20-year segment of that plan, things become a little fuzzier, become a little vaguer, because it's impossible to predict the future and what the needs of the students in this university might be.
Right. You sort of touched on it a little bit. Where exactly are we right now, you know, in the master plan? What is the current construction? What is the current building procedures that are going on now?
We have spent the last year finishing up the design on the Carlson Library, getting it out to bid, getting those bids awarded, and I am proud to say that the contractor came to work today. You will very shortly, perhaps today, you saw fencing going up around the construction site, so we are indeed underway with Carlson Library. In order to make that happen, if I could go back a little bit, in order to make that happen, of course, you've got to vacate the Carlson Library to get those books and the people out, and the Carlson Classroom building as well, where English was taught, certainly. And there were a few other offices in there as well. Well, you have to relocate those people. And we started about 2.5 or 3 years ago. We renovated Keeling, and then we went on to renovate Davis Hall to accommodate English. We moved CSD out of Davis. Also a number of other offices, and so we got Davis clear, then we got English out of Carlson Library or Carlson Classroom building, put them into Davis. Then we had to go about the business of finding places to put these books, and some of the library staff to service the students, so that we could keep some degree of normalcy about what's going on really over the next year to year and a half. And so now we have managed to secure some spaces in what was the multipurpose room in Gimmel. That's where people can go to pick up their books now and receive the library services for the most part. And so we relocated them down there. It has really been a 2.5 to 3 year period of time where renovations had to take place with a lot of lead time in order to make this happen.
Sure.
And so I think we're there now. They started the Carlson Library project. There's going to be some inconvenience. There will be some inconvenience over the next year as that construction site takes shape. And we would like to have gotten started a little bit earlier in the summer, but the way the contracts were awarded and everything just wasn't possible. But bear with us. We'll, what you're looking at is some signs of progress.
Sure.
We'll get there.
What actually are we going to see happening over there in the Carlson section of the campus? You know, is the building just going to be totally knocked down and new? Are you just renovating what's going on there?
No, it's the project is composed of really 2 components. The first component is really 3 if you want to look at it that way. The first thing we're going to do is demolish the Carlson Classroom building in that courtyard area, which has been less than useful over the years. And then we will expand the Carlson Library by building more accommodating spaces, completely wired high-tech spaces, more smart classrooms, computer labs into those areas, as well as space for the volumes and a number of multimedia sorts of endeavors. Library science will be hosted by that building as well. So we will take down the Carlson Classroom building and expand the building. So that's the second part, is the expansion. And then throughout the building we'll renovate the space, to some extent reconfigure them for a library of the 21st century. So it's a renovation, first a demolition, then an expansion, and also at the same time a renovation of the existing facility.
Okay. At this point we're going to take a break. Well, we're going to come back, sort of weed through maybe a little bit more of what's going on with Carlson and, you know, maybe what else we're going to see on the campus.
Sure.
We're going to take a break and be right back on Feedback after this.
Hey kid, boyfriend wants to know if that girl will go out with him. Pass it down.
Hey, Grandma, ask the girl on the end if she wants to go out with this loner.
The young man wants to know if the girl over there is a donor.
Somebody wants to know if you're an organ and tissue donor.
Yes.
Hey, me too.
Are you a donor? Make sure your family knows your decision so there's no question later.
Do you think you have the power to change the world?
I can shape the future, one child at a time. I can make a difference in those children's lives, and I know I have.
Who knows where my influence may stop? I teach.
I teach.
I teach.
Yes, they're teachers, but to the kids they reach, they're heroes.
I think I have the power to change the world. The influence is always there.
Do you have the power to wake up young minds, to be someone's hero, to change someone's life? Reach for that power. Teach. If you want to make an impact on our future, call 1-800-45-TEACH. Want to change the world?
I teach. I teach.
I teach.
I teach. I teach. Be a teacher. Be a hero.
When other stations are showing their boring programming, only one station is bringing news coverage closer to home.
Now a story you'll hear first on 5.
Every Tuesday and Wednesday night at 8 p.m., join the area's news leader, TV5 News. Tune in for the latest in local, regional, state, and national news. Plus, with our newspaper exchange partner, the Clarion News, teaming up to bring news coverage closer to home every Tuesday and Wednesday night at 8 p.m.
Welcome back to Feedback. I'm Mark Despotakis. As I said, as you've noticed, today we're talking about the master plan renovations going on here at Clarion University, talking with Claire Heidler from Facilities Planning. And you know what, not everyone's happy about this. I'm sure you've heard. Not everybody loves to see construction around every corner, or at least every year when they think, oh good, it's done. There's a new one right around the corner. How do you respond to those critics? What do you say to them? You know, why is there always this construction? How do you respond to that?
It is an interesting question, and I think it deserves some attention. If you take a look at the university's facilities and go back and look at its history, and without going into that detail, I think we can concisely put it that about 55 to 65% of this university's facilities were built 30 to 35 years ago. They came online. This, of course, was in response to the tremendous buildup of demographically of the people attending state universities about that period of time, in 65 through 70 or so. Any house, any structure will soon run out of steam, so to speak. Major repairs, major renovations, sometimes to the point of replacement, have to be considered about that 30 or 35-year point. It's one thing to look at replacing carpet and doing paint and maintenance and repair. It's quite another when the basic elements of the facility are worn out and can no longer be repaired because there's not that much left of them. Can't get the parts. Can't get. So we find ourselves in a position where 55 to 65% of this university is in a position where it either has to be repaired extensively or replaced over a very short period of time, just because 30 to 35 years ago it was put here. The Venango campus is 100%. 100% of the Venango campus was built, say, between 1968 and 1975. That's when most of those facilities came online or were built. So it's particularly troublesome there.
So are there renovations going on there as well,
yes,
like
indeed.
we have here? So.
Yes, indeed. We have done major renovations up there just this summer.
So it's everywhere.
Frame Hall.
I was saying to you during the commercial that as I visit other campuses, you know, not only state school campuses, I was at IUP, they were doing it, and I've seen it at other, you know, universities around. So I guess that's a very good reason. So if you're a critic of this, you know, listen to that. Let's move on to something that was in the news, you know, I'd say in the spring of this year. Requirements that sprinklers have to be placed in dorms on campuses. Where are we in that? What needs to be done? Are we going to do it?
Well, yes, but we're not going to go off half-cocked, so to speak. There's a certain amount of study that needs to be done. It has to be done within 5 years. Just today, I confirmed that a group of consultants will be in here very shortly, within the next 3 or 4 days, to begin to evaluate the residence halls, all but Beck, because Beck Hall has a sprinkler system in it. We put it in this summer. It's something we've wanted to do for quite some time. And But the other residence halls need to be evaluated to develop a plan as to how we're going to get those sprinkler systems established, how much it'll cost. And we just don't know exactly how feasible all of this is. Certainly it's feasible, but the level that we have to go to, the trouble we have to go to get them in there, the fire protection we have, the fire detection we have, such as smoke detectors, all of that will be evaluated. So it remains to be seen what'll unfold from there. But we do have to sprinkler these things according to current guidance anyway. Okay. We have to sprinkler these facilities within the next 5 years.
So then, does this throw a wrench at all into what the goals were set aside, in the master plan? Does that throw a wrench into it now that you're going to have to spend money to do sprinkler systems, or was this a thought, in '96 when you came up with this?
The sprinkler system issue was not, with the exception of Bechtel, the sprinkler system was not so much of an issue at that point in time. It is now. The impact it has on the master plan remains to be seen. What we're studying this to make a determination as to how large or how small that impact may be, and that's really about all I can say until we all the facts are in.
Right. So we'll have that'll be coming out. They'll be coming out to evaluate in the next week or so. You said. Let's look down the line. We've sort of been talking about what's going on immediately with Carlson. What do we have coming down the line? What's the next construction project that people are going to complain about?
I can't help but say Carlson's quite enough, thank you. But within the next year, I think we're going to be focused on Carlson. You can only disrupt so many facilities, relocate so many people over a period of time without it really impacting the academic mission. I believe that our next big effort, if you will be a project that we at least have received legislative approval for. And now we have to seek funding, and that has to do with the replacement of Pierce Science Center. That's what we're looking at to get done next. I can remember 10 years ago, the library was nothing more than a glimmer in someone's eye, not a word on paper about designs or anything like that. No one ever really believed that we would be able to do this, and yet we started construction on that today. I suspect Pierce Science Center will be the next big effort, and that's certainly downstream, and we have to secure some funding for Pierce Science Center. Very high on the university's priority.
So they're looking into that, and no specifics, obviously.
We've done a feasibility study in conjunction with the science departments and math department, science ed, and we've laid out some floor plans and some conceptual issues that we could take to a designer. All of this done in tandem with getting the legislative approval. So we think we're in pretty good shape to at least make an appeal for funding, or make a convincing and compelling appeal for funding, given the condition of Pierce and given how much we need an excellent science program here that can only be supported by a newer facility.
Right. Okay. Well, let's look back now. We're looking forward. Some of the big things that people may remember. The rec center. How can you forget? I mean, everyone sees it up there. Harvey Hall just completed. Chandler Dining Hall completed last year. What's the university's thoughts on the success of each of those?
Well, starting with the rec center, I've gotten a lot of positive feedback about the rec center. I think because it's such a much-needed facility, and of course our athletic facilities were restricted to Tippin pretty much until the rec center came along. There's a broader array and there's more floor space now. I've gotten a lot of positive feedback, particularly with regard to the mezzanine and the running track and all of that. A lot of positive feedback there. Founders Hall. Of course, we've been in Founders a little bit longer after the renovation, a little bit longer than Harvey, but a lot of positive feedback there. The facility is really serving its mission, and of course its furnishings and its interior was redone in the period in which it was built, and it's a real showpiece. And the students that I talk to who attend classes there seem to enjoy the facility as well.
I've enjoyed Founders.
Harvey remains to be seen.
Okay, it does. All right, we're almost out of time. So you're happy with Harvey, though? I mean,
remains to be seen, though.
Okay, what students think. What about Chandler? Is that university happy with that?
I hear they are.
Okay, and I think students are as well. So we had to cut that short, though. Claire Heidler from Facilities Planning, thank you for joining us. We'll let you go back and fend off the critics. Thank you for joining us. We'll be back on Feedback right after this.
couple of hours ago, and I put everything away, so I didn't...
What is this? Pizza? What, pizza?
If you had just called me, I would have known what...
Dinner ready is pizza.
I didn't know you'd be so late.
Let me ask you something. Is it too much to have dinner waiting when I go home?
Please don't be so loud.
Don't tell me what to do! You shut up!
I thought you'd be home.
I can get pizza at work!
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I'll do something better. I'll fix you something now.
Better.
Let go of me!
Get in the kitchen!
No!
Well, it hurts! Do you want to see what hurts? That's what hurts! That's what hurts! Now get up and clean up this mess! Shut up!
I'll be quiet. I'll be quiet. Oh, please.
For information, call 1-800-END-ABUSE.
I said, you know, wouldn't a better name for a movie to come out now, and I think I'm going to make the movie or write the book. It would be a great book to have, and you can call to get her book. You can also find it online. Well, I have a feeling I'm going to be rather opinionated. People I know, so let's ask them about scheduling. Why is it that students have such a problem here with?
Tune into Feedback with Mark Despotakis every Tuesday and Wednesday night beginning at 7:30 p.m.
We're totally out of time. No time to talk to you. We'll see you tomorrow.
It may not look like it, but you're watching the future of the Earth pass by. Because many of these products are made from materials you've been recycling. But to keep recycling working, you need to buy products that say, made from recycled materials. For all those next in line, it would mean the world to them.
I want to say thanks to Claire Heidler from Facilities Planning for joining us. If you're on this campus, you know what's going on, and it was good to get some of these explanations here for you. Tomorrow night on Feedback, we're going to be talking sports here at Clarion University. First of all, there's a new soccer program at Clarion. We're going to be talking about that. Also, there's a new softball coach. Both for the women's teams, there's a new women's soccer program, and the new softball coach will be joining us, which should be interesting to see what they have planned out for the year. So it's kind of a university week here on TV5 on Feedback. Next week, right now we're going to be, what we know of, we're going to be talking with the Clarion County Historical Society about old and new things at the university this week, and maybe some old and new things in the Clarion area next week. Then the week after, just to give you a little rundown if you want to mark your calendars, Borough Council will be that Tuesday, so we won't be on. We will not be on during weeks of Borough Council. But on Wednesday at 7:30, I was telling you earlier we're going to be speaking with a Tony Award-nominated actress. You may have heard of her. Her name is Ann Hampton Callaway. She is, in my opinion, one of America's greatest jazz vocalists that I certainly have ever heard. We'll be talking with her. We're going to be seeing actually some clips from her in her Swing is actually the theatrical production she is in New York City. We'll be seeing some clips from that, talking to her about that, so that should be exciting. A lot of things, you know, planned for down the road as well. So thank you for joining us here on our first show, and we'll hope you'll stay tuned and continue joining us every Tuesday and Wednesday night at 7:30. TV5 News is next at 8 o'clock, and it is also on tomorrow night at 8 o'clock. Thank you for joining us. We will see you tomorrow night.